This week on Stay Out of My Fridge.
Like tilted to the left a little bit.
Little left? Huh. I was going to say, if you go to a little bit to the right, then you call that the Scott Norwood. Ooh, burn Bills fans. Those Bills fans, they get that big dub against the Chiefs, which, you know, maybe they're in Kansas City now. Maybe they have to change their name someday. Who knows? So, you know how they're all doing the name-changing culture? If the Chiefs were terrible, do you think they'd have to change their name potentially?
And I've heard, who was it that said the Chiefs are America's team now or some shit like that?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, fuck whoever said that.
Yeah.
I'm a Broncos fan. At the very least, the Lions are America's team right now.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
I think 80% of people whose teams stink, not going to make playoffs, not going to win, they have to be rooting for the Lions. I am rooting for the Lions. Like, that's secretly always kind of like, I'm a Steelers guy. That's my team. All right. But I've always had like an NFC team, and it's kind of always been them because I got a buddy who's a chiropractor now, is the only legit diehard Lions fan that I know in my life. Has been since I first met him. Granted, he grew up with the Barry Sanders and the retirement, that whole thing. But he is the only one. So for like his sake, it's like I root for Nebraska for you. You know what I mean? Can't Yuban though? I'm not rooting for any of his goddamn teams.
What's wild about it, dude, is I don't think people really truly, even last year, they went last year to the playoffs, won 2 games, lost in the conference championship game, clearly, right?
Yep.
But I don't think people truly grasp how putrid the Lions franchise has been. I mean, I'm looking at the record right here. Last year's playoff win was the first win they've had in the playoffs since 1991. But that 91 win, which was just a divisional win, and then they lost the next week, was the first time they had won in the playoffs since the 50s. So we're talking 3 playoff wins. I don't know why I gave you this number since for 70 years. I mean, so like this team has been. You want to talk about the Browns? Yes, I'll give you the Browns, but the Lions are right up there with them.
Man, you aren't kidding. And I mean, they just, there was so many years they just didn't even have talent, it seemed like. I mean, you could probably go back to any team in the 2000s, the early 2010s, which is weird to say. Definitely, after Barry Sanders, you probably couldn't name more than 5 players on the team, and the worst part is they're getting top picks. And then, you got guys like Sue and some other ones that just don't pan out. It's kind of like being a Pirates fan. They always stink.
Now,
and they're not getting talent.
I got to give you, because I'm a Nebraska fan. What do you mean Sue didn't pan out? Because some people are saying he's a Hall of Famer.
I mean, as far as like having him on the field didn't lead them to becoming, the
and he was
team.
only there for like 6 years. I think he left.
Yep.
No. Point taken.
No, he is phenomenal and was great there. But I mean, he wasn't franchise changing, which one guy shouldn't and couldn't be able to change a franchise, right?
Yep, it's true.
I mean, like I said, I don't know. When did he get drafted? Probably 09, 2010?
2010.
2010, yep.
So, I mean, looking at the Browns here, the Browns playoff record in the same time period since 1991, they've only had 2 playoff victories. That's 1 less than the Lions.
Yep.
But
and one was last year with friggin' Flacco, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2020, they went last year and lost to Houston, but 2020 was the last playoff victory against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So before that, though, I'll give you this. Here are their playoff losses, the Browns going back. 2002 to the Steelers. 1994, yeah, I know, we're going way back, to the Steelers. Before that, 89 Broncos, 87 Broncos, 86 Broncos.
So they can only beat 2 different teams, apparently. or
well,
only play 2 different teams in playoffs.
They've got to hate they clearly hate the Steelers. It's a division rivalry.
I mean, it was pretty evident in the game, that Thursday night game last week. I mean, I do have to, I got to throw this out there. Tony from the Dude Network, huge Cleveland fan. I was expecting a bunch of text messages during that game. Obviously they beat them. And I was like, in my brain, it's like, do I respond with this? Do I respond? No, I'm just not going to respond. And he didn't send a single message. He's like, the next day, he's like, hey, what was that scent of the month? And whatever. He's like, I gotta re-up some oil because there's a sale. And I'm like, thinking, all right, he's going to gently figure out how to talk shit about the Steelers. But it just shows you in the NFL, like, it doesn't matter if you are the shittiest team. You can still go out and beat a team. You shouldn't, right? But You never really know. And especially a rivalry game, those guys hate each other. Absolutely hate each other. When Cleveland acts like they win a Super Bowl by beating the Steelers, you know that. And shout out to those fans. I mean, that weather seemed to come out of nowhere. It was a whiteout. People still not wearing shirts, getting shown on camera. That place was packed right until the end on a Thursday night. Shitty weather. Like, shout out to them. I mean, that was it was fun to watch, kind of, but not really. Obviously, you don't like to watch your team lose, but I'm not one of those guys like they lose and it ruins my entire week. Like, I don't care that much. Maybe I'm not a true fan then, I guess, but I mean, it's I hate saying this, but it's just sports. It's entertainment.
I'll say this too, that there's no other football. I mean, that is a quintessential football game. That is that kind of that snowy. I mean, you give me snow, you give me fog, you give me mud, you give me rain, you give me something that causes the players to not have their full speed or look at like it just you love it. You love to see it. It's amazing.
And watching grown ass men play a game as if it was like a peewee game or something, you know what I mean? They're doing snow angels after the game, you know what I mean? They're throwing snowballs at each other. And also shout out to Cleveland. I don't know why we're giving shout outs, but either way, props, I guess, to them to be instantly prepared. It was like the snow started. Then within 10 minutes, it was a complete whiteout. They got the shovels ready. They're shoveling the lines. I mean, those guys busted their ass during the game. And that's a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't really see. And crazy game, man. And I don't know if you watched it or not, but I guess, what would you have done? I mean, in hindsight, when the game goes there, but Tomlin had that tough decision.
I didn't see
It's Cleveland has the ball. They're kind of like 35-40, you would say field goal range, but not because of the weather. They're clearly going for it. They get a penalty, and it's either 3rd and 7 or 4th and 2, right? They don't get it, game's over. Tomlin declines it, but then the refs come over and kind of explain it a little bit more. He then reverses his decision, takes the 5-yard penalty. So now it's 3rd and 7. It's 4th down territory. They get 2 chances at it. So now you're essentially a 4th and 2 in that area. You know, they've been run. It's either run, play action, more than likely, right?
Right.
Well, now it's 3rd and 7. You open that playbook up. They call a great play, receiver wide open, first down, run down, and they end up winning the game. The Steelers get the ball back with less than a minute. You know, Russell Wilson moves the ball. They get a chance at the end zone. Hail Marys are, I mean, unless you're, you know, the Washington Commanders or Aaron Rodgers throughout his career, you're not winning that game. But
yeah, it sounded like a tough game. Anytime you're the Steelers and you lose to the fucking Browns, I mean, it's never a good thing.
Yeah, and me, like, it's like, oh my God, they lost to the Browns. They're 2-8. But at the end of the day, it's like Steelers are still 8-3. You know what I mean? As long as they don't have a complete meltdown, they're probably going to make the playoffs, which, you know, that's what you want to do. And then they're probably going to lose first round and just end up with a mediocre pick that they'll trade to Philly or somebody. But either way, like I said, to me, sports is an entertainment. It's I love Sunday. We record, we chat with the boys, we watch some football. And today is one of those days where you know, and a lot of people, you know, that say they're busy don't really know, but today's one of those days that I have to be in 2 places at the same time, hours away. So it's me and the wife, we have to divide and conquer. She goes one thing for one family party. I go one way for the other family party. And it's like, where is she? Where is he? And it's like, can't be in 2 places at once. Why can't we coordinate a little better, fams?
Right. No, I've got an event today that I got to get to and don't want to go to, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
I do want to say 2 things before we move on from the Browns. You guys have 2 weeks from today before you play them again, because of course NFL divisional games.
Mm-hmm.
So you have another shot. And secondly, if you look back, I mean, and people realize this if they're Browns fans or if they're fans of the NFL before the merger. 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. 5 years in a row, the NFL champions were the Cleveland Browns, which is unbelievable. And then, of course, you know, we're talking back in Otto Graham's time, not, you know, with Johnny Unitas or there wasn't quite the NFL talent that we have these days.
Right.
And then they lost in 51. They lost in 52. They lost in 53 in the championship. They won in 54. and 55. So basically 10 straight years they went to the NFL championship game.
That is
And
unbelievable.
they lost, looks like 3 and won 6. No, that's not right. So 9. Anyway,
But there was only 13 teams roughly about then. So, I mean, your chances were a little bit better.
And I mean, back then, I mean, even to the 70s, you would have the college all-star team that was picked by a committee or a group of coaches. They would play the Super Bowl champions. I don't know if you ever remember those. Those were crazy games.
Yeah, I remember that because everybody always says that. And I've always said it like, Alabama in their day, they could destroy the Panthers. Or why wouldn't they, take the best team and play that? Now it is very apparent that there is not a goddamn chance that a Super Bowl champion and a college football champion should be on the same field together. I do think it would be cool as a charity game, or now that college kids can make money. I think that'd be awesome. Take the worst team in the NFL after their last game, play after the college championship for X amount of money. You know what I mean? The college kids win, they get this amount of money. And if the NFL team wins, give those guys a little bit of extra money. It's like the NBA play-in or the in-season tournament. Those guys win it. They each get like $500,000. That's more than some of the contracts of these people. So the NFL guys with a low contract make some money. These college kids got a chance to make that would sell. I think it'd sell pretty good.
So there were 41 games played between 1934 and 1976. And the NFL was 39-2. So looked like
Appalachian State.
The NFL hadn't lost. The last time the college all-stars beat the NFL team was college all-stars won in 1963 against the Packers, 20-17.
Ooh, interesting. I bet you though, an all-star team with the proper amount of, training and practicing together could have a chance. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason it stopped was there was some very big problems NFL coaches had with their new draftees playing in a game and potentially getting injured. And one guy did. I'm just reading this up. I didn't know this beforehand. Don't think I'm some know-it-all. But a guy named Dick Reifenberg, which is a great name, Reifenberg out of Michigan.
Isn't that what you're going to name your next kid?
That's right.
Dick Reifenberg McDermott?
Oh, just call him Rifey. Anyway, it would be worse if his name was Dick Reifenberg. You know what I mean? Oh. Anyway, he got injured in a practice before the game and literally ended his NFL career, injured his knee. So,
yeah, that's the other thing. You're not going to get anybody that's going to go in the first round that's going to risk it for. But maybe they would say, hey, you're going to get $100,000, $200,000. The first top whatever picks that are guaranteed money aren't. And I know this is a little bit late news, but the Daniel Jones saga, holy
so
shit.
Share it with me, other than he's a shitty quarterback who got drafted by a shitty team and everybody hates him.
Everybody hates him. So early in the week, again, this is old news because this comes out but he was demoted. It came out to the third string quarterback. Then reports he was demoted to the fourth string quarterback. So then he went and asked for a release. He was released by the Giants. Yes, he is going to be a free agent. So it's like, I'm telling you. And one of the fun, not funny, I don't know what the word is, tweets that I saw was from Barkley and was like, good for you, man. Second chances are good, more or less like, hey, way to get out of New York. Now it's time to, make your career better and stuff like that. I mean, people shit on him, but I'm going to tell you what. I mean, at one point, he took a not very good Giants team to the playoffs, got paid. Still, I mean, he's not great. I'm not going to say he's a Hall of Famer, but you put him in the right situation.
I am so, and I'm a Nebraska fan, so this probably, and recency bias probably plays into this double time.
Yep.
But I am so of the mindset that coaches get into this my way or the highway. This is the way we're going to do it. I don't care if this guy wants to do this or do that. I don't care what his strengths are. We're going to run this offense. And we're going to that. A lot of times, to your point, Matt, these quarterbacks are either regressing, their fucking confidence is shot. We had a quarterback who literally college level, of course, was a 5-star quarterback, came in first 4 or 5 games, I don't want to say he lit it up, but he was, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Pretty decent for a 18-year-old kid, true freshman. And then the last we had 5 straight games. 1 was a win, 4 were losses, where he regressed. And he had like 2 touchdowns to like 6 or 7 interceptions. We made a coaching change of the offensive coordinator. A new guy came in, Dana Holgerson, you may remember the name, under the Mike Leach tree, coached as a head coach for Houston and West Virginia. Great offensive mind, usually runs an air raid, but smart enough to know which is the kind of coach you need in situations. You play to the talent level of your team, and you play to their strengths. And if you've got a good offensive line and a running back who can take 25 carries a game, by golly, are we going to run it through the tackles? Or if you've got a quarterback who can, do what this guy's doing, we're gonna do that too. He comes in and we score the highest points total we've had in 3 years, and we beat a team that hadn't given up 24 points. We put up 44. So my point is, non-Nebraska football related stuff, is that there are so many examples of these quarterbacks. We talked about this before in NFL, who the second chance they do so much better, and even the third chance. Who was the guy? The guy that played just recently for the Colts,
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Was he the guy?
He went Falcons to them. He didn't do too much. Falco. Yep.
Or Flacco. What did it call?
Falco. What's that? The
That's
Replacements.
The Replacements.
They kind of look alike.
But Joe Flacco, which isn't he did great at Baltimore. He had a great career and everything else, but still was able to come back. But that was a bad example, I guess. But there's been other examples of quarterbacks who come and had their second shot at a team. Gives them some confidence. How
come you didn't say Russell Wilson? I mean, he went to Denver after Seattle.
Because he started at Seattle and he was fantastic at Seattle. Is he doing all right for you guys?
Not bad. I mean, he's only lost 1 game. I mean,
I call him check down Russ, because it's like everything's a fuck down to the running back or tight end.
That's kind of Steelers football. It's run first, run heavy. So it sucks because the first little bit it's run, 6-3 game, you know what I mean? And the next thing you know, it opens, they wear you down, and then he gets to throw, I guess they call it the moon ball or whatever the hell it is. They throw it up, Pickens goes up, makes a crazy catch every once in a while, then he doesn't make a catch, and it's like, that's pass interference, and then they bitch, and it's like, and they go crazy. At times it's okay football, but I love the new offensive coordinator. I really do. The guy he was the coach for Atlanta, had the mustache. I can't think of his name, but he's I don't know. It's good when your team's winning, even if you lose a couple games. But going into week 12 or week 11, they hadn't played a single divisional game. So now in the last 6 weeks of football, it's all divisional games in the Chiefs and the Eagles, and it is going to be a brutal end of the season for the boys. Guarantee you, Watt gets hurt. Another big name, Harris or somebody's going to get hurt. Then they limp into playoffs and just get destroyed. That's what happens every year.
I was just looking some up here, and the biggest one I missed is a team we've just talked about. Fucking Jared Goff. Are you kidding me? People were saying he was the worst choice in that NFL draft class.
You were thinking Stafford. Matt Stafford left the Lions and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
But I think Matt Stafford fills into like that Russell Wilson, Mike Vick portion, which would be started at the first team and did great, like had no problem. Clear a redemption story with each of those folks. Matt Stafford never getting a playoff win, much less a Super Bowl win. Mike Vick getting the crazy shit that he didn't able to bring his career back, which is wild, like almost like Mike Tyson's way.
Yep.
And then who's the third one we just mentioned?
Goff.
Goff, literally thrown into the trash heap of NFL draft busts as a quarterback position to leading the team. They are literally shitting on NFL teams and like blowing them out. Like it's not even close.
It's
How can you not be a
fun
fan
to watch.
It is.
They play like most people play Madden football. I mean, they are wide open. It's fun to watch. I think I saw something that they were like a 21% chance to win the Super Bowl right now by the books. So, And back to Daniel Jones. I mean, he obviously is going to want to sign with a contender, be a real good backup. You never know who's going to get hurt. I think early reports said that potential Ravens or Vikings. I'm thinking the Ravens. Yeah, I mean Lamar does get hurt every once in a while, and the backup hasn't really Huntley or whatever. hasn't had a lot of success. It'd be a good little backup, but I could see Minnesota. You know what I mean? You got Sam Darnold out there playing some decent football. He goes down. I don't know who the backup is for the Vikings, but Daniel Jones, he could look pretty good in that purple. And school.
What about Cowboys? Could you see him going to the Cowboys?
I don't think they're going to spend that kind of money because they're not a contender. You know what I mean? Like, the dude signed for 11.8 million a season or something like that. It's like up there 12 million and 23 million guarantees after the season. He's due a lot of money, so I can't see somebody that is not a contender spending that kind of money to grab him. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But for a contender, it's like, yeah, we're going to spend it. It's worth every money in case somebody gets hurt. You've seen
But,
it. I was thinking randomly today. Remember the game with the Niners where Purdy gets hurt, then they put in the backup. The backup gets hurt. They have no other option, which they could have did Debo or maybe McCaffrey or something. So they had to put in Brock Purdy back in, knowing he couldn't throw the ball. So all they did was run the ball for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely wild, and with the restriction on roster limits, it's tough for an NFL team to try to bring 3 quarterbacks, But there's been definite situation. Remember when this is going way back when Dan Marino got injured in like 92, 93 and was out for the whole year. And I think there was a game or something where maybe it was the wrong team, maybe I'm thinking the wrong time, but where a team was down to like having their punter out there throwing. So, I mean, looking at Daniel Jones, I'll say this: he's got NFL tools, so somebody will take a chance on him.
Mm-hmm.
His problem is between his ears, and that can be a confidence. And I don't mean to call him dumb. I'm saying it's a confidence issue. And so looking at even at his stats, he peaked when it comes to touchdown interception ratios for his rookie year. A couple of years ago, he had his best year based on QBR and quarterback rating. But I mean, he's just I think it's between. Plus, you got a terrible offensive line.
I was going to say terrible line.
Your best player on offense left for the Eagles, I believe.
And he was hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was. So you don't have any. I mean, what do you got? Neighbors, Malik Neighbors on the.
Yeah, and he's a rookie.
And that's it. I mean, so you don't really have. The Giants have been a terrible. You want to talk about the Jets being terrible? New Jersey, New York has been. I call them New Jersey. It's East Rutherford.
Oh, they're New Jersey.
Yeah.
Especially if you're around here. Trust me, the Bills. We're the only team in New York.
So
you're right.
It's a matter of terrible organization, terrible GM, terrible ownership, terrible coaching. You can ruin a fucking talent. You can stunt potential, and you can ruin a guy like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones out of Duke. Yes, I had to look up to make sure. He was a guy drafted sixth pick of the first round in 5 years ago, 2019. I wanted the Broncos to take him.
Yeah,
I wanted the Broncos to take him, and like looking at it now, it's like, glad they didn't. But
yeah, those ACC quarterbacks, they're almost up there with the SEC quarterbacks for panning out, huh?
Yeah.
A Drake May. I mean, he's been playing some decent football. He was a Carolina guy, but
who'd have thought the MAC would be a great league for quarterbacks?
Who knows? Hey, doing something different in the MAC. Not only that, the MAC and the Cheese. I just looked. We're about 20-something minutes in, and you guys are probably wondering, where's Yuban? Maybe, I guess you're not at this point, but he had some things going on. Turns out Yuban is a pretty busy person. That's what happens when you have a bunch of kids and, in a busy life. And the busy kids with kids turns into a busy life. Trust me, Brandon and myself know. And, to top it off, Brandon has a pregnant wife, which makes things a little more interesting in the household, to say the least. It's been a long time since I've lived with somebody who is pregnant, but I remember it having some very big ups and downs, and parent life is pretty interesting. It's interesting. It's good most of the days. It's kind of like being a coach. You know what I mean? You deal with a whole bunch of bull crap, and then all of a sudden there's that one moment that just kind of makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, and you're like, this is why I coach. They go pretty quick.
It's the opposite for me. It's everything you prepare for is great, and then there's this one moment of like, well, I didn't predict that the running back would fumble it, kick it 20 yards down the field, or that we would punt it backwards and the other team would catch it for a touchdown. Like I didn't predict these things.
Yeah, that is true. And I was randomly scouring the internet, and I bet you this person didn't predict it. And this is a very good stay out of my fridge segue. Dailydot.com. Never been to the website, but led me there. There is apparently they do a main character of the week. And I'm not really sure exactly what that is, but apparently it's a weekly column that tells you the most prominent main character online, good or bad. They run it every Friday. All right. And this one is apparently being called the Wormgate. There's a celebrity food reviewer named Keith Lee. Have you heard of Keith Lee?
If I saw him, maybe the name doesn't sound familiar, but
Yeah, it didn't sound familiar. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of Keith Lee. To me, it's like celebrity. Oh, he is, I guess, a celebrity. Maybe he's a fighter. He's an American social media personality, food critic, and MMA person. Let me bring it up here. This is Keith Lee. I'm not a huge MMA guy, nor am I into, I guess, the food reviews. I only listen to Brandon J McDermott stuff.
I do not think so.
Okay, so apparently he went to a sushi place in Seattle recently, and viewers noticed something potentially in the food, and it looked to be a worm on the fish that he was eating, and they're saying it was likely a parasite. He is good, I guess, now, but fans also ate at the same place. I don't know if it was at the same time, later, maybe they saw the video and went there, and they started getting sick. And one of these fans was hospitalized for over a week. And apparently there was a video that the boyfriend of said girl that got sick posted, and it went viral. And apparently she got E. coli from that sushi place. Yeah.
I am an American. So when I look at videos on the internet, I think to myself, food videos on the internet, I think to myself, that wouldn't pass health standards here. But all that said, the health standards I have for, say, a fast food restaurant like McDonald's are not going to be the same as the fast food, or as the standards I would have for a sushi restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
If you run a sushi restaurant, you better have the tip top best practices back behind closed doors. You work in a restaurant, you're always going to have the chance and potential for roaches. I don't want to say I let me preface this way. There was a restaurant that I know of. I'm not going to tell you where it was at.
No, that's fine.
Because I don't want people to, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But who was a sushi restaurant, and somebody said they found roaches where they were, and there was like raw meat left out because they also do like hibachi stuff.
Yep.
And there were people who were like online saying, who were defending it, saying every restaurant has roaches. You would not, blah blah blah. Certainly may not be not true that the restaurant you worked at was terrible and had roaches and didn't clean up stuff, and there was grime on the floor and grease on the hood and all this other stuff. That's not what should happen. And just because it's something that did happen and that it does occur at places doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. Just because I eat those places and haven't realized or recognized by the food I'm eating that there's roaches back there, or they have got dirty whatever. We have standards for a reason, because people can die from these kinds of diseases, or not just that, but that kind of leaving raw meat next to fresh meat, or having, God forbid, some sort of parasite in your fish. I've seen fish that have had like growths on them, so you'll like see a little pus on it, just like a little boil, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard you just cut that off and you cut around it and you move on.
Yeah.
But no, but on the whole, I you guys probably know me enough to know that I'm pragmatic, and I'm kind of in the middle of the road. I try to see things both ways. I can understand where every restaurant, to a certain extent, isn't going to meet all health standards at all times, and things happen, especially if you've got not a sewer, but you've got a drain in the back to the floor, where we all know that certain roaches can come from the sewer.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's where the Ninja Turtles come from.
That's right. On the other side of the thing, I understand, well, I don't want to eat. If you tell me when I walk into a restaurant, here's a picture of what this kitchen looks like, and we get to look at it, there's probably several restaurants I would be leaving and not eating at.
Could you imagine if they did do that? That was on the menu, like that was forced in some states. Like here's a scan this QR code. Here's the live cam on our kitchen. Make a decision, or right outside when you walk in, there's a thing of the camera, or a camera that just shows the kitchen, and you're like, huh? Because not worked in the food industry, but I know people that have, and I know people that have ran restaurants, this and that, and I've been in some of them. Beautiful, clean kitchens. And I've been to some other places, and they have said, like, do not go into this restaurant because the health department, especially in New York, I have to imagine it's the same in most ones. They're pretty tough. And I mean, the people that they get a lot of, I guess, flack for going in there. Like, their job is to find something. They have to find something. If they don't find something wrong with your restaurant to keep people safe, they're not doing their job. And people talk, and especially these health department people, and they'll be like, listen, do not go to this restaurant. I'm telling you right now, it's going to get you sick. And it's a scary thing, man, but we still go there.
Yep.
But it said apparently there was an expert in the sushi thing that says the wholesale of fish at many sushi restaurants and the people that hand them, that they want to point the blame toward the original restaurant and not the batch of fish that sold it to the customers. So they're more or less saying the restaurant messed this one up.
I also want to point at this, you being in upstate New York, a little different than me being in the middle of America. I'm literally in the only triple landlocked state in the United States,
Ooh.
Nebraska. Triple
so
landlocked.
It's hard to get fresh fish there.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's coming here is either coming on ice or flash frozen. Yep. And it's not, and it's coming either, well, it's definitely not coming by boat. I mean, it's not, I suppose you can come up the Missouri River, but it wouldn't be the best. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, so if you're living here in Nebraska or the Midwest, sushi probably shouldn't be the first choice on or if you're going to get the imitation crab,
Yeah. And the biggest thing with sushi is that it needs to be frozen at some point, because when it's frozen, that's where it removes any chances of the parasites and the infections and the nasty stuff. They say
it doesn't remove the parasites, it just kills them. You're still eating them.
Yes, they're still eating them, but it's not going to be harmful at that point. And the reason it's funny, because I've been addicted to making beef jerky, and I have read a lot of stuff lately on jerky, and it's funny because obviously I don't go to Reddit, because Reddit can be, I go to Reddit, but I wasn't going there for jerky advice. I randomly stumbled upon this like jerky junkies or something, a group on Facebook, and the amount of differences in the way that people do things. So obviously it's beef, you know what I mean? Beef you can eat medium, some people medium rare, you can eat it at different temperatures. And with jerky, I've been cooking, and a lot of people dehydrate it around 160. So then there's the huge debate. When it's done, is it done, or do you need to cook it for a little bit to get rid of potential, you know what I mean? Because it's not quite 165. Then you get a whole bunch of people. It's like, well, you just use curing salt. And it's like, and then you have all, you know what I mean? I've been cooking jerky for 60 years. I've done it at 160, ate it for weeks. It's fine. And then you get these other people that are like, well, I do that. So I've done it kind of each ways. So how would you do it, I guess?
You're talking about it's good? Drying beef jerky?
Yep.
I'm always too afraid of doing stuff like that. Like I am too afraid to cut. Like I don't even. I'm the kind of guy. I've got a smoker outside. Okay. I haven't even bought a brisket yet or a pork butt because I'm so afraid to fuck it up, because it's a lot of money for that. Again, $115 for a brisket, or something, $90.
So I found a little bit of a hack so if you were to go to a store, like you eat beef jerky, I'd imagine, or maybe you don't because of the price. Like, it's pretty expensive. If you were to go there, roughly ballpark, without, I don't know, I should have probably looked this up, like a pound of beef jerky.
Oh, a pound. Oh shit. You're talking $15 to $25. Easy.
Yep. So I
probably more than that.
I go to this local place, Save a Lot, and I'm saving a lot. Last week they had a 70, I think it was 72 or 73, whatever the mix was, for ground beef, 5 pounds of it for $14.85 or $14.95. So I'm like, sweet. So I pick one up. I make each of the jerky batches in 2 pounds, okay, and with the ground beef, and I throw it in the KitchenAid, tenderize it, just let it mix everything in. It's nice there. Take out the jerky. I like the nice flat, like crispy style ones. Throw them in there. I got not only a dehydrator, but I got my air fryer that is also doing it. 160 for 4 hours. And then right at the end, I put the oven to 275. I go about 10 minutes. So that way it can kill anything. And then that way I don't have to store it in the fridge or anything. I don't want cold jerky. So that way I can store it. It's fine. I have crushed 10 pounds of jerky in the last 2 weeks, and it is phenomenal. And it's ground beef. I mean, I've made 10 pounds of jerky for like $30. Obviously, because I had the seasonings and stuff like that. But
Yeah. But I mean, it's the same way. I think we talked about that. Did I tell you the story about when I was craving a Reuben?
yeah, when you
It's
made
the
a
same
bunch.
thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the convenience factor versus the listen. For just $35, I can make enough Reubens to last me 4 days, probably.
Yep.
Same with jerky, man. You're going out there, you're going to spend 10 pounds of jerky. No, you're going to probably spend $130 or more.
Yep. And like I said, I already had the dehydrator because we like doing the fruit every once in a while, as a little snack for the kids and stuff like that. But we were able to not only do this, but it's so easy to do. It takes 20 minutes for me to prep a batch, and then I just walk away for 4 hours. I don't have to do a goddamn thing. It just runs. It just does itself. So the other morning, I got up before work, prepped a batch, put it in, and then when I came on my lunch break, all the jerky was done. Beautiful. And you know what I mean? I'm trying to eat a little healthier, and I think beef jerky is such a great snack. And producer Zach, he's like, dude, it's wrestling season. Maybe I could pay you to mix up some jerky for the boys.
So there's no greater feeling. I've never done jerky. I mean, I've done personally myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, bullshit. Where's the bullshit meter?
I've done plenty of jerky. But there's no greater feeling for me as somebody who's, let's just say it, lazy. Coming home from work and remembering, oh, fuck. I put a pot roast and some vegetables with some beef consomme and ranch seasoning or something in a crock pot. Coming home to the smell of this is wonderful. So that'd be that same feeling. Like you get done, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I did this.
And it's like we don't have to burn our candle warmers or whatever those things are, the wax ones. We don't burn candles to make this house smell a little bit better because we got a bunch of animals. Not that it stinks, but you want to smell. It smells like beef jerky all the time. People walk, wow, it smells like beef jerky in here. Yeah, that's our new scent. I was reading something else earlier too, and I think I lost the article, but apparently, I grew up eating Pop-Tarts. Here, big Pop-Tart house. I mean, like I said, I haven't eaten, but apparently Pop-Tarts is bringing something back. And I haven't read Pop-Tarts is bringing back a retired fan favorite flavor. So I got to ask you, what is your favorite?
I'm trying to think back to like wild berry or something. Anyway, don't tell me. My favorite flavor when I was a kid, I used to like the fudge or whatever the chocolate, which it's not very good to be honest. It's not the best.
Yeah,
it's just. I'm a frosted cherry, frosted strawberry, or blueberry.
Those are staples. They've been around for a long time. I think strawberry is the OG. I grew up too, though. Of course, I didn't grow up in a healthy house, meaning we didn't eat healthy food. To this day, my ma, she hates vegetables. Once in a while she'll eat corn or something like that. I swear her health and her age, she looks great for her age. She's in pretty good health, all that stuff. I think it's because she drinks vodka and cranberry juice almost every day. Not enough to get drunk, but just a couple sippers,
Well, she's pickled.
Pickled. You know what I mean? Doesn't eat pickles. Doesn't eat a lot of. So I didn't have my first salad until I went to college because I just didn't grow up in a house where like we ate those vegetables. We had instant mashed potatoes, canned corn, stuff like that, which, hey, we turned out pretty okay. And the only reason I started eating salad is because the college that I went to, in their dining room, they filled like all their food with fillers. And I got so friggin' sick. It didn't matter what I ate. The only thing I could eat there was cereal and salads because it didn't have the fillers in there. I mean, I already have some stomach issues. I got to eat something. I got to go to the bathroom. That shit, whatever the fillers is, oh my God, I was brutally sick.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches. But so not eating in a healthier house, every once in a while, my mom would be like, all right, we gotta, you're an athlete now. We got to eat a little better. I'm going to get you the Pop-Tarts without the frosting. So I ate for the longest time the strawberry ones with no frosting, and they ended up becoming like my favorite Pop-Tart. I would toast them a little bit every once in a while, maybe put some butter on it.
I'll tell you this: the frosting on Pop-Tarts isn't what makes the Pop-Tarts good. It's literally just like hardened candy. I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah,
but
have you had unfrosted ones though?
I have, not in a while. But I mean, what Pop-Tarts are is literally trying to be your cheap, throw it in your mouth, or in the toaster and then in your mouth treat on the go breakfast for kids and for people on the go.
Mm-hmm.
It's not trying to be something high end by any means, and for what it is, it's really good.
Yep.
I've had foreign friends try it, and they're like, "This isn't the greatest." My kids eat Pop-Tarts. They don't like them. I try to give them, they don't like them. My wife and I, my wife brought me on to what you just brought up: butter on the back of some warm. Now, if they're unfrosted, it doesn't matter where you put the butter, but I
Right.
usually put it on the back, and
Yep.
it soaks in.
It's my shout out to my uncle Jim. That's it. He was the one that taught me as a kid. He's like, "You're having a Pop Tart, you got to put some butter on it." I didn't
Yeah.
realize the difference between butter and margarine, like how bad margarine really is. It's to the point where like they've done tests and cockroaches, ants, animals like that will not touch margarine.
I'm not a chemist, but it's like really close to plastic.
Yeah, it's
Apparently, when the
just
chemical
not.
breakdown.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've been on this like weird deep dive stuff. I probably blame myself because I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan lately, and obviously, and he just kind of has been. It's a known thing, but somebody that they had on just with the food and how bad our food really is, and when you start to look at all of the different food that is banned in other countries, it's pretty shitty.
I mean, you can go. I don't want to mean to get into the woods here, especially with conspiracy theories, because there's plenty of places to find on any
I
platform,
know.
including this.
I'm into them though. We need a conspiracy theory podcast. That's our next one.
100%, 100%. But when you talk about what's in our food and who owns, basically every, there's the. Have you seen the Facebook TikTok guy, wherever he's everywhere, who owns this portion of the grocery store
Mm-mm.
spots? Oh, it's so good and bad at the same time, because he'll say, "Okay, today we're looking at spaghetti sauces. Here's a picture of all the spaghetti sauces at the store. The wall of spaghetti sauces.
Yep.
This portion right here, Hunt's, they're owned by BlackRock, which is one of the top three. I can't believe I just said the word. They're going to come for me. One of the that's really conspiracy theory there. One of the top, three biggest companies in the world that owns everything from you name it, right? This one down here, this little green square is the only actually family owned spot in this whole,
Yeah.
and basically like the top two or three companies own everything in the grocery store,
Yep.
or are not a sole owner, but you think of something being owned and there are pieces of the pie. This piece is owned by this piece is owned by this. They're an owner in basically every industry that produces the food. That scares the shit out of me. But the problem is I'm probably 30 or 40 years too late to do anything about it, because what are we going to do? Grow our own food? I mean, I can grow potatoes and corn and broccoli and basil and dill and all that stuff. I don't have I can't put cows back there. I
was
can't
going to say, unless you got to have money to have land and the cow. Yeah, it's.
I am in the city limits here, allowed to have, I think, 6 chickens or something like that. So I can have my own eggs, and then just take a hammer and just be like, "Hey, Billy," I was like, "Oh my God, there's."
Yeah.
So,
but how long is that really? How long is 6 chickens really going to? You know what I mean? Like you can't. It's not going to get you through if. Unfortunately, because then you get rid of one, you got to start over. But you can get 90-day birds, so as long as you can get by for 90 days, I mean,
90. But my point is no man is an island. We all need each other, and so through necessity, I'm having to go to the store or things like that. So what are you going to do except just yell into the sky? At this point.
Yeah, the kids they showed me some kind of YouTube that they watch, and I think I know I'm probably going to get some flack for this. It's somewhere European based. I don't know exactly where, and I'm only going potentially on accents. You know what I mean? And they do this thing where they try American foods. It's like this school. I don't know if it's a school or a college or something. And they just try these foods, and it's just wild, from cereals to candy bars, and they're just like, "This is terrible." And every once in a while, you're like, "People eat this." Look, did you look at the ingredients? No wonder why Americans are so fat, and like just stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, I'm just looking at this quick list. It's like 13 foods banned in other countries, but not here. Ritz crackers are banned in other countries. They're outlawed in several countries like the UK, Canada, Brazil, right? Mountain Dew. People love the Mountain Dew. I mean, I was at a Christmas, I almost said Halloween, a Christmas parade. Local Pepsi companies in it. They're handing out cans of Mountain Dew and Gatorade. banned in other countries. They're banned in 100 other countries. But apparently, according to this article, there was a certain ingredient is why it was banned, and the drink no longer contains said ingredient because of the controversy surrounding it. Apparently, it was BVO.
Okay.
We probably Coffee Mate Creamer banned, Gatorade banned, farm raised salmon banned, Skittles, Twinkies, Frosted Flakes, even though they're great. This one hurts my soul a little bit. Swiss cake rolls, the Swiss rolls from Little Debbie banned. Certain meats, U.S. chicken, U.S. pork, and prepackaged ground beef are some of the meats that you cannot purchase abroad.
And say what you want about the EU and other places. I mean, those things are trying to protect their people. And some regulations are stupid and others can be very helpful.
Yep. Pop-Tarts, banned. Wheat Thins, which I always grew up thinking they were healthy, banned in Japan and Europe because of a ingredient BHT, which is a carcinogen, which is in a lot of this stuff. And that's not to, go on and on and on, but that app you can share the screen. And that app that I did, I start scanning foods to see what the hazardous stuff in there and what it's linked to. It tells you like, oh, this could trigger breast cancer in women, or this could do this. Or I'm like, if I can buy an alternative, why wouldn't I?
Exactly. So I want to show you this real quick.
Yeah.
If I can. I'm trying to get it to work for me. It's not working.
No, you're good.
Okay,
Hey,
here we go. Okay, so
here we go.
We're talking about the guy who talks about things. Now, we're not going to watch this whole fucking thing because there's just no time.
Mm-hmm.
But here he is. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Ian Carroll show.
Yep. Can you hear this?
Guess who owns Hidden Valley Ranch? Honestly, the whole sauce aisle was full of surprises. So this game's pretty simple. We're going to walk down the sauces aisle, and we're going to learn what corporations own all these different brands. We're looking for small, family-owned brands. This all started back in the cereal aisle when Nature's Path, the green part, was the only family-owned brand in the entire aisle of mega corporations, all owned by the same big one. Shout out to Panda Puffs, baby. Ready to get started? Who you think owns Hidden Valley Ranch? That's right. They're making bleach and they're making ranch. The Clorox company, and it's the big three investment managers, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. If you are majority owned by these guys or the other big money that you see at the top of all these lists, then you get colored in red. Okay, what's next? Fishbone salad dressing is owned by Unilever. They're also owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. So this is how we're starting out, boys and girls. Next, we got some Winco generic stuff. And by now, we've learned that the generic brands of all these stores are just manufactured by the same people that make all the name brands. So we'll just color the generic brands orange because they ain't some local business or anything. Okay, moving down the aisle, picking up where we left off, we come to Kraft. And you may already know that Kraft Heinz is owned by the big three, but Berkshire Hathaway, i.e. Warren Buffett, owns the shit out of Kraft Heinz. That's one of his cash cows. So he is in charge there. In honor of Warren Buffett being his own brand of big money, we'll just let Wardy have his own purple color. There you go, Buffy boy. Okay, next we got a couple of little brands up top before we get to Ken's. California Pizza Kitchen's been passed around 100 times. Ain't nobody wanted it. It used to be Pepsi, then it was private equity. Brianna's is actually the Del Sol Food Company. Del Sol is Sabor Mex, and Sabor Mex is La Costeña, who we met in the chips aisle. Or shit, maybe it was the juice aisle, I forget. La Costeña is a giant Mexican corporation that owns a whole bunch of other corporations. So we'll go easy on it. We'll let California Pizza Kitchen just do its thing up there, and we'll let Brianna's keep their colors just the way they are too. But let's be real. Neither of those are small family-run businesses. And that brings us to Ken's. Ken's has this huge section over here. They must be owned by some giant corporation. At least, that's what I would have thought. Turns out they're owned by members of the Crowley and Hanna families. And they were founded by Ken Hanna, and they're privately held. Shit. So we'll move down the aisle, and we'll leave this huge Ken's section just how it is.
So you get the idea. I don't want to take too much up, but yeah, that's just an example. If you go to his page, Ian Carroll Show, he's got a playlist of 11 different videos that will be interesting, make you laugh, and make you just fucking into your hands because you start realizing that everything's owned by the same people or the same corporations, and how awful that can potentially be. Not even getting into the perimeter of the store, which is all milk
Mm-hmm.
and veggies and all that other stuff, and who owns the seeds and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's old age. Maybe I don't know what it is. I've been into stuff like that, and man, there's what is it? My lunch break. If you're ever looking for something to watch on YouTube, if you haven't, check out My Lunch Break. Their YouTube has been I mean, they jumped to they're already at 155,000. They are going to be a very, very big show where he recaps his daily life more or less on his lunch break about historical interest, and it's one of those faceless ones. He does voiceover stuff, but he's just bringing up facts after facts of how I think how he puts it, or even Pat McAfee would put it, the old whites, all this old history that's being covered up for some reason, and he's digging up some stuff, factual, questioning things, and it's just what is really going on? And that stuff, I don't know, it intrigues me lately, but that is a very cool podcast and show on YouTube if you're ever looking for something, and it's fairly quick stuff. I mean, he's showing facts on the screen. It's very visual. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's not all about hey, everybody, check me out, subscribe, it's just facts, facts, facts. And then shout out all my Patreon peeps. Facts, facts. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. He does a very good job behind it. So the latest one that he did was he's up to 101 episodes, just celebrated the 100th episode. And, every couple days they're coming out, and it was just the Gate of All Nations is what it's called. And it's good stuff. But we can
check it out.
Yeah. I just looked at the clock. I know you got a busy day, a lot of stuff going on, especially with the holidays. And, oh shit, today's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
Holy cow. I forgot today's the day we're going to crush some food. It took us 52 minutes to realize it's Thanksgiving today.
Yes, it is. I'm excited. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving too. If I could pose a question to folks for next
Absolutely.
time. For next
Okay.
time. Think about this. I want you all to go into your and comment on this video. Go to your refrigerator, or your mom's refrigerator, or grandma's refrigerator, or pull up old stories of times gone by.
Or go into the teacher's lounge and find something in the refrigerator.
What is the oldest thing in your refrigerator? Condiments are included. Packets of, I don't have any more on my thing here. But yes, if you have a packet of Taco Bell sauce or Parmesan cheese and it has a date on it, that counts.
Do Taco Bell sauces have dates?
No, of course.
Okay, because I was gonna say shit. I need to go look through mine because I guarantee you there is some couple-year-old Taco Bell.
I take it back. There's a 2020 Taco Bell Corp, but I literally got this 2 weeks ago. So this is just the same design they've used for 4 years. Is what it is.
Smart, good for them. Yeah, tell us the oldest thing. I like that. I'm gonna and we're gonna do that as well. I think this one is easy to pan out instead of going to a thrift store and finding the weirdest thing. We'll find the oldest thing in our fridge. Although, usually on the day that this comes out, it's garbage night for me, so I do really try to throw some shit away.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll try to find the oldest thing. I can tell you right now that I'll tell you the oldest thing in there, and I don't know why, but there's pickled sausages, like the ones that you can get in a bar. It's just a little one, and they have been in my fridge with a bag, and they're in the back of there. They say they don't go bad, and it's been a couple years. Nobody in the house is probably going to eat these, but they're still good. I don't know why we just don't throw the goddamn... Bring them out for next week?
We'll eat them on the show next week. I'm kidding.
Okay, so Brandon's going to come up to New York to say hi and meet me. We're going to be in studio, and we are going to eat probably 3 to 5 year old sausage.
We've got a hospital bed set up right here just for him. As soon as he eats it, he's going to have dysentery.
You don't want to go to the hospitals around here, buddy. We're not going to make it out. So on that note, hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving. That's why Yuban couldn't be here. It was Thanksgiving, a lot of traveling. So hopefully you guys eat well. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Eat, sleep, and be merry. And don't eat too much, because if you're like me and probably Brandon, we got to work the next day. So it's got to make sure that the Black Friday is there. Let us know, though, too, if there's any great deals on some stuff for Black Friday. I know it's like a 10-day event now instead of 1 day. So don't leave your family to go wait in lines at a place either. That's just dumb. I mean, come on. Support local. the best you can. I know it's not always affordable, but that's something that's important to us. We do probably 85% of our shopping at thrift stores and local businesses. You pay a little bit more, but you're getting it back at the end because you're paying taxes in the area where you live with the taxes. So I know it's not easy to do, especially with certain things. It's like with kids, you don't want to go out and buy very beat up used toys all the time when you can buy something fairly cheap in certain places. But one thing too that my brain is saying that it's supporting small businesses, not exactly local, is there's a lot of TikTok shops that are people like us that are selling T-shirts and crafty stuff that I got on there the other day, and there was like some really good stuff for like under $2-3. And it's not because there's a thing on there where what is it, international shipping and stuff. This isn't. So that's how my brain justifies. But
I get it.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll do this again next week. We appreciate all of you. Keep your sticks on the ice, and as Yuban would say, give your grandma a kiss for us. Bye-bye.
Buckle up tight. It's gonna be a wild ride. We're diving deep into your fridge where secrets hide. The mysteries of leftovers, the wonders inside. From moldy sandwiches to ancient yogurt jars, we cover the truth.